John McEnroe's outbursts during his matches came to characterize an entire generation of tennis. He was definitely the bad boy of the sport, but since then he has calmed down a lot and put his head down. So, how did he turn his tennis earnings into a small fortune? And what advice does he have for Nick Kyrgios? Plus, how did Kyrgios accidentally become one of the most charitable tennis players in the world? Stay tuned for all of that and more tennis news coming right up. First up, Mick Bratt. John McEnroe is a larger-than-life figure in the tennis world. From the late 70s until the early 90s, the American was one of the best players in the sport. He spent 170 weeks as world number one and has gone on to have a big role in tennis after retirement. He worked as a commentator, a coach, and an ambassador for the sport. More than 4 decades in the sport has turned out to be pretty lucrative too. His prize money from his playing career is more than $12.5 million. But outside of that, he has a number of income streams. He has a rock band that goes on tour and a gallery in Manhattan. You can't be serious. McEnroe also has a pretty decent real estate portfolio with his wife Patti Smith. They own a farm that they bought for $3.5 million and an oceanfront Malibu house they spent $21 million on. On top of that, they are thought to have around $50 million worth of real estate in Los Angeles alone. All of these assets add up to an estimated net worth of around $100 million. That's not bad for a tennis player who once told an umpire to go fuck your mother before being disqualified from a tournament. But McEnroe has come a long way since then and has definitely rehabilitated his image in the eyes of the public. These days, he's known as one of the most insightful commentators on television and an important voice in the tennis community. He even serves as head coach for the Laver Cup. Now, taming the fire. The fiery temper of McEnroe may have gotten him into trouble, but it was probably also his greatest edge. That's why he feels that he can relate deeply to what young talent Nick Kyrgios is going through. Kyrgios has built up a reputation as the bad boy of tennis and often has outbursts on court just like McEnroe did. Talking about Kyrgios on BBC Radio 5, McEnroe said, "I get a lot of what's going on here more than most people, but he's got demons, you know, in a way. We all have this fear of failure, and it's a question of how you best deal with it." Kyrgios shot to global fame in 2014 when he beat Rafael Nadal at Wimbledon. He has also beaten Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer, proving that he is one of the best in the game. Nick has been praised for his natural talent, unconventional shots, and playful style. Unfortunately, his mentality seems to have held him back. He refuses to employ a coach, and many argue that he doesn't need one. His career high ranking is number 13 in the world, but earlier this year he dropped to as low as 137. McEnroe thinks that Kyrgios just needs the right mentoring, and he could be one of the greatest in history. He said that some of the shots that Kyrgios is able to hit are incredible, adding, "He moves the needle for us in tennis. We need this big time, but we don't need him to try half the time." When even John McEnroe is criticizing your mentality, you know that something needs to change. Up next, how is Serena Williams planning to expand her empire even after retirement? And how did Nick Kyrgios accidentally give away thousands of dollars? So, don't go anywhere. Next, retired life. John McEnroe isn't the only ex-tennis player making a nice living for himself. Plenty of former players turn to other businesses, commentating, or brand deals to keep making money. Women's great Serena Williams has just announced her retirement, but what is she planning to do now? In a regular year playing tennis, Serena was pulling in as much as $40 million from prizes and sponsorships. This has built her net worth to an estimated $260 million. For decades, Serena and her sister Venus dominated women's tennis and cemented their names into the record books. As doubles partners too, the sisters have won 23 doubles titles. In her singles career, Serena fell just one title short of Margaret Court's record of 24 major titles, but she has arguably been a bigger figure for tennis. In her retirement announcement, she said that it was because she wants to have another child and that it would be too difficult to continue as an athlete. Amazingly, back in 2017, she won her 23rd major in Australia while pregnant, but has said that she can't do it again. But don't worry, there will be plenty to keep her busy in her retirement. She is a savvy businesswoman. Serena is the founder of Serena Ventures, which helps fund companies in the early stage of development. This year, the company raised over $100 million. The company is specifically targeted at minority entrepreneurs, with 78% of the companies in her portfolio being started by women and people of color. On top of that, she is an investor in the Miami Dolphins, Angel City FC, and even a children's book author. Is there anything this woman can't do? Next, nice gestures. Not long ago, tennis was dominated by the Big Four: Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, and Andy Murray. But one by one, they are starting to fall off. Andy Murray was the first, as his career has been disrupted by constant injuries. But he has started to pick up tournaments more regularly and has climbed back to world number 48. That's not what he's making headlines for, though. It's because he has committed his entire season's earnings to Ukraine UNICEF to try and help after the Russian invasion. Speaking to Racket magazine recently, Murray said, "You can't just forget about this. It's still going on. I think it's important that the media continues to shine a light on it and keep talking about it." Last year, Murray made more than $400,000 in prize money, and if he can earn a similar amount, it will no doubt be appreciated by UNICEF. The Scottish player has raked in over $62 million in his career and has been involved in charity work for years. He has organized a number of charity fundraisers for cancer research and combating malaria in Africa. Plus, he has participated in charity matches to raise funds for natural disasters. In 2014, he was given the Arthur Ashe Humanitarian of the Year award for his charity work. He has also been outspoken about women's rights, match fixing in tennis, and in support of players receiving vaccinations against COVID-19. Between his many injuries and all of these issues he's fighting for, it's a wonder how he finds time to train. While Andy Murray dedicates his winnings to charity, Nick Kyrgios decides to do it in a more indirect way. Kyrgios is officially the most fined tennis player of all time for his bad behavior on court. Racket smashing, swearing, spitting, and verbal abuse have all resulted in Kyrgios coughing up some serious money over the years. Since his debut on the ATP Tour, he has accumulated more than $500,000 in fines. But in an interview, Nick reminded fans that it's all for a good cause. He said, "All the fines that I get fined go to charity. That's for everyone." So, in many ways, Kyrgios is the most charitable player. He might be a loose cannon and have a temper problem, but what's the big deal in a smashed racket if the money is going to a good cause? Kyrgios himself estimates that the total amount of fines he's had in his career is around $800,000. His total career prize money is $11.6 million, which means that he has lost 14.5% of his earnings through his bad behavior. That's a pretty hefty tax, but Kyrgios seems to be turning a corner this year. He has recently opened up about his mental health problems and how he would often drink alcohol on the nights before big matches. The tennis star is now seeking professional help, and the results seem to reflect that. He just won the City Open in Washington and made it to the final at Wimbledon earlier this year. Maybe this is finally Nick's time to reach his full potential. Do you think Kyrgios deserves to have been fined a total of $800,000? And what do you think about how much money top tennis players earn? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in the next one.